Hello, my Mossy friends! My name is Christine, aka Mossy Motham, and welcome to my channel! Today, I thought it would be really exciting to look at all of the villagers, 50 in total, that were brought back in the Animal Crossing New Leaf Welcome Amiibo edition, as well as talk about what villagers I would like to see brought back as well, who did not make it into the Welcome Amiibo expansion pack. So in case that doesn't mean anything to you guys, before New Horizons, the game was called New Leaf, and a few years after the game came out, they had an expansion for it called Welcome Amiibo, and with that expansion, 50 villagers were brought back that were missing from previous Animal Crossing games. And I thought it'd be really fun to go through the list of villagers that returned and decide if I personally would have returned them, as well as talk about some other villagers that I feel like should have returned instead. So if we go alphabetical, the first villager that came back with the Welcome Amiibo edition was Admiral, a very cranky green bird. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of him. I think he has a cool design, but for example, Ace, who was only in the original game and then never was seen again, was Ace, a jock bird. I don't understand why Admiral was brought back instead of Ace. I think Ace is a lot cuter, but Admiral's not terrible. Personally, I would have taken Ace instead. Next up is Bee, and I think she's a sweetie. I definitely don't see why she was cut in the first place. She's just so cute. So yeah, definitely I would have taken her. Isle was a villager who only appeared in Dobutsu no Mori E+, and then was never seen again. I personally don't think that he ever will return. He looks really cute, but just for the fact that he wasn't even in like the first 3 renditions of the game, because there's Dobutsu no Mori, Animal Crossing, then Dobutsu no Mori E+, before even Wild World, which a lot of us consider Wild World to be the second game, even though it's technically the 4th. I don't think Isle will ever return. Same thing with Analog. I feel like Analog looks so much like Sprinkle that not seeing it, and personally I agree with those. I think Aziz is a really cool character. I don't know why they didn't bring him back. He kind of looks like Elvis and some of the other lions in general, but I feel like he deserves a comeback one day. Betty is a chicken that was cut, and I can understand why. She kind of just looks like a regular old chicken. She has a really cute curly-haired bangs, but nothing too crazy special. Billy was another villager that was brought back with the expansion. I don't know if I would have kept him. He just kind of looks like your everyday goat. Not my taste, but he's okay. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have brought him back. Biddy was brought back as well with the expansion. She's not my favorite, but I definitely think she's cute, and I think deserved to come back. She kind of looks like Betty Boop, and her name is very similar to that, so I don't know if they drew inspiration from her, but we don't have a ton of hippos, and I feel like we need some more, so she fits in well. Boots was brought back. I love Boots. He's probably my favorite alligator, or at least definitely one of mine. I just love his little polka dots. I think that was a good choice. Boris, I really dislike. I wish they would have left him. I feel like he looks a lot like Ganon, which, in case you weren't aware, Animal Crossing and Nintendo have done a few different collabs with other video game characters as well as other companies, and they did a Legend of Zelda collab, and Boris looks exactly like Ganon, which is the pig based off of the main antagonist in the game series. So I understand why they didn't bring back Ganon, because the whole collab, if they wouldn't have just brought back one, they would have brought back the whole set. But I don't know, he's not my favorite. Bao and his counterpart Meow, who's a cat. I personally don't foresee that Nintendo will ever bring them back, even though that they are super fan favorites, and I really love them as well. They are based off of a Japanese exclusive animal translator device. It was kind of like a toy for kids that you would hold up this, it kind of looks like a phone, and you would hold it up to your cat or your dog, and they would like bark or meow into it, and then they would translate it into Japanese so you can understand them. And they were cut after one game because Nintendo believed that once they would send the game to other countries that they wouldn't really understand the reference of why they have like a screen on their face. If you look at side by side Bao and the like actual translator and Meow and the actual like cat translator, they look almost identical. Like you can definitely tell where they got their like inspiration from, but they feel like it definitely would have went over other kids' heads. And I disagree with that. If anything, I feel like they both look like Tamagotchis. And even if kids still didn't know what Tamagotchis were, I think that they're just cute little robots. Like, we have Ribbot and Sprocket in the game, so we need a little bit more robots. Bring them back. Boyd was in one game, then was brought back with a Welcome Amiibo, and then was in New Horizons. So, like, really, very rarely in game, and I wish that they would have just left him out. I could be biased because I really don't like the gorillas, but he's just not even one of my okay, acceptable gorillas. Buzz was brought back with the expansion, and he's a pretty okay eagle. He kind of looks like a hawk. He's a good cranky eagle. Next up is Candy. I personally find her really creepy. I'm not sure which set of eyes are real. Like, I know the pink ones are supposed to be like her blushing cheeks, but to me they kind of look like big eyeballs. Like, if you cover up the black eyes on top, it just looks like her eyeballs are her cheeks. But I know that she does have fans and she's popular, so yeah, I can agree with her coming back. Carrie is not my personal favorite, but it's definitely has fans and pretty okay. Yeah, she's cool. I love Carrot so much. We definitely need more cows in the game, and I just love her color scheme and how she's based off of, you know, like the actual vegetable, and she's just really cute, so please, I want her. Cashmere was brought back with the expansion, and again, I could be very biased, I love the sheep. There's overall, like, probably my favorite species. I really don't think that there's any, like, bad sheep. Cashmere is not, like, my favorite, but I don't think is repulsive or anything. CC was one of the Splatoon crossover characters that they just came out for the Welcome Amiibo. So, I personally don't think Splatoon collab will ever happen for New Horizons. Their next plan would probably to bring back the collab with Legend of Zelda, because this year, 2021, is the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, so I feel like that would be a really cool collab to have in the game. But then with the Splatoon characters like CC, I feel like that's definitely like not on the radar right now. I feel like out of all of the collabs, the Splatoon collab characters are like not gonna happen, at least for not a few years. I do want to make a little edit because when I originally recorded this audio, it was before the announcement in the Nintendo Direct of Splatoon 3 coming out. With that being said, I feel like definitely it is more likely that the Splatoon crossover characters will come back, and especially seeing as how we have the Sanrio villagers who came back. Champagne was cut from the game, and I don't think he personally, like, I think he's a really cute dog, and we need more cranky dogs, but I don't feel like he will come back. Most likely because of his name. I understand that his name is based off of like the coloring of him, like the yellow, but I feel like Nintendo tries to go for very G-rated, because if you remember from the New Year's event, you could have a glass of sparkling cider. Even though it was very heavily implied that it actually was champagne, they didn't want to list it as champagne. It was just called cider, so kids could enjoy it. So I feel like having a character named after like an alcoholic beverage wouldn't happen. It would be cool if he could. Chico, I really dislike him. I really hope that he doesn't come back. I know that sounds very mean, but I hate his eyes. They look like little mouths, and I feel like he looks almost identical to Samson, who is a gray mouse. So I just don't really see any potential. I mean, he kind of seems like the opposite of Samson, with Samson being a jock and then Chico being a lazy, but still, I don't like it. Or I don't like him, I should say. Claude was one of the 50 villagers who came back. I think that was a good decision. I think he's a very simple design, but I like him. I like his blue in his ears and his little curly bangs. Cleo was also brought back. I think she's a pretty okay horse, not like one of my definite favorites or anything, but pretty okay. Dobie was a villager that was brought back, and I think that was a good choice. I really like my old man, Dobie. I feel like we do have a lot of cranky wolves, like way too many. I feel like the species needs to just have more personality types in general. Maybe that's why they cut him from originally, but I like him. I think he's cute in a nice old man kind of way. Dozer is a villager that was cut. I feel should definitely come back one day. I love Everybody's Purple. I don't like his catchphrase though, which is a whole bunch of Z's, and I understand it's supposed to be like he's sleeping, but he's a really cool unibrow and he could definitely join the unibrow squad. I mean, of course we have Nate, who's another bear with a unibrow, so maybe that could be some conflict, but I think it'll be fine. We also have Lyman with a nice unibrow. We have who's the Hazel. So we have a few representations of unibrow lovers, but Dozer could fit in well. Alina is a villager that was cut, and personally I don't think she will come back unless they maybe do like a restyle of her. I just feel like she doesn't really fit the vibe of the game, and she kind of has a little bit of cultural appropriation because the dot in the middle of her head kind of looks like a bindi, which is in reference to Hinduism and Buddhism culture. But I think she's really nice. I really like her, but I feel like if Nintendo would ever bring her back, they would maybe do a redesign of her, which I honestly don't think they will. Ellie was brought back with the Welcome Amiibo expansion. I think that was a good choice. She's a really cute, kind of classic elephant, but she's nice looking. Epona was one of the Legend of Zelda collab character. Faith was not seen after the first game, and I think she should one day come back. I like her. I think she kind of fits in with the vibe of the other koalas. They all kind of look similar to each other, and her head just kind of reminds me of a coconut, just round and cute. So next on the list was Phelan. Phelan was a Monster Hunter collab character, and I just love his design so much. So even if Nintendo didn't want to bring back the collab with Monster Hunter, I understand it can be difficult doing these kind of collabs and working out contracts and whatever. I feel like they could definitely turn Phelan into a new cat character, and the cats in general are one of the most popular species in the game, but that the color scheme, the nice like cream color and brown, they could make a new cat looking very similar. Next up is Philly, who was a 7-Eleven exclusive villager. She couldn't live in your town but can give you some really cool items in Welcome Amiibo, but it was very hard to have access to her. So not only was it a Japan exclusive, but it was only at participating 7-Eleven stores. You'd have to like hop onto their Wi-Fi and make sure you could grab her. So I don't think that collab will ever happen. Out of all of the collabs that happened in the past, I would say probably that's like second to bottom on the list. Very cool character, and I personally have never had access to the 7-Eleven furniture. I've had access to some of the like to most of the Sanrio furniture and some of the other collabs through either having access to the amiibo cards if they were available or having like friends who are really into the game, but no one I know has anything to do with Philly. Like, they just can't. She's so rare. So I really don't see Philly ever coming back. Flash was cut, and I feel like definitely deserves some redemption. I love his cute little hat. He's a nice old bird man. His hat reminds me a little bit of O'Hare, a bunny in the game, but they could maybe join a quartet. They all have those hats, don't they? Cute little black rectangles for eyes. He's very charming, and I don't really like the birds a whole lot, but I like him. Flossie is another character that was cut. I think she's a mix between cute and creepy. I like her, but then I look at her wide eyes and I'm kind of like a little bit disturbed. I feel like she can go either way. We do have a lot of peppy mice, I feel like, in the game, but with Bella especially, but she could fit easily. Nothing too exciting about her design though. Fruity was only in one single rendition, so I've been talking about like the first game in quotations to actually mean the first 3 renditions of the game, but we only saw one actually come outside of Japan. But out of the 3 like renditions of the quote-unquote like first game, there was only one singular that had Fruity. He's a cool little duck. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Daffy Duck from Looney Tunes, just with like a bad wig on top. I think he's cool. Maybe he should come back one day. Ganon is another Legend of Zelda collab character I talked about earlier. Gen or Gen, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. He looks a lot like a Twa, which is another sheep. I love him. Again, I'm probably really biased because I just love all the sheep, but I really want him to come back. I think he would look great. Gonzo was added in the expansion, and I think he deserved to come back. He's a good little cranky old man, koala. Hambo hasn't been seen in a long time. I like him. It's kind of like a play on words, you know, like pig / ham, and then he has the sweatband on his head, just like Rambo, which is a famous character in movies. So he's really cool. I like when characters kind of have that built-in clothing on them, whether it's like sunglasses or, like in this example, sweatband. Thank you all so very much for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for part 2 coming out very soon. And on that note, I will see you all in the next one. Bye!